Hello, and welcome back to Life According to Dana. Last week we talked about unforgiveness, and I kind of want to piggyback on that this week as well. Over the course of my ministry, I have dealt personally with being hurt or unforgiveness, and also how to process through it. So I want to share some things that, again, how God has dealt with me over the years about this. And I know we hear people talk about you just got to let it go, as I even touched on last week. But I want to talk to you about how not letting God completely heal the situation can impact you to the point where everything you hear is negative, where you just feel like everybody's out to get you, or that there's no sincere people left in the world, or just a number of things. But let me just scoot in a little bit here. God gave me this phrase some years ago, and I always hear it come back in my spirit sometimes when I'm actually listening to people talk about, oh, I forgave them, and or I let that go, and God is faithful, and they giving the big church speech. And what the phrase is hurt ears. Hurt ears. Hurt. Hurt ears. And when you have hurt ears, everything you hear sounds like a problem. Every time someone criticizes you, and honestly, the criticism could be truth, but because you have hurt ears and you've not allowed God to heal something in you, it always sounds like an attack. I'm not even going to bother with the church jargon of saying, I know that's none of you out there, because I know it is, because it was me too. And I have to guard myself even today, because past hurts, even if you're in the process of letting them go, or if you've moved on from it, you will still treat people like the last person if you have hurt ears. Example: if someone has hurt you in the area of love, if there has been someone that has come in your life and they betrayed you, they said they loved you, or they say they would never leave you, that they have your back, and they leave and they hurt you. So the next person that comes along, if you have not allowed God to heal that area and you are walking around with hurt ears, the next person that comes along and says those same words, that says, I love you and I will never leave you and I will always be there for you and I will support you, because you have hurt ears, one, you not believing them. Two, you are treating them like the last person that hurt you and they've done nothing wrong. So now you're walking around with all this baggage and you're charging other people with the offense of someone else. That is the danger of unforgiveness. You will charge innocent people with damage that someone else has caused. If you do not allow God to heal your hurt ears, to heal your heart, to heal your spirit, you will charge innocent people with damage that someone else has done. How many people have you charged with coming at you wrong and they were actually coming with sincerity? I always use myself as the example. So here we go. I got so tired of asking church people to help me feed people in need that I said within myself, bump it. I'll just do it myself. I'ma just go ahead, do this ministry by myself, where I don't have to get board approval. I don't have to go to you all, explain anything. I'ma just do this within my own strength. I did this for years. Years. So when people that were genuine started to come along, Dana and her hurt ears was like, la, la, la. They all sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 to me. I did not believe them. I have this little catchphrase that I will say: beware of people that make speeches, because it had been and has been my personal experience that people that stand up and make long speeches about how they are there for you and they gonna be there, they gonna be your ride or die, they gonna do this, they gonna do that. They the first ones out the door. It doesn't even have to be a crisis. Just they see something that looks better, or they find out maybe you weren't who they thought you were. Maybe you didn't have the impact or the influence or know the people that they thought you knew. So now they on the better and greener pastures and then left you in the lurch again and again and again. And here's the masterful trick of Satan. He will tell you when the true people come along, well, you know, they just like so and so. They ain't no different than this person. They ain't no different than this ministry. So don't even bother to give them the time of day. Hurt ears, y'all. That's what we're talking about this week. Hurt ears. So now you're judging everybody according to your past hurts and your past bad experiences, like everybody on the earth is wicked and no one is going to help you. Well, that's a lie from the pit of hell. And I came to uproot it today and prayerfully help you begin the process of getting rid of those hurt ears, because the enemy will camouflage truth at all times. He's just masterful at it. He likes it. And so here you are needing help, but because of your past experience, you can't even recognize the genuine help that God is sending. So this is where I found myself. After years of handling this myself, I really can't tell you the prayer I prayed, but after years of putting this before the Lord, saying, okay, God, this is getting bigger than I can handle. I need help. So now me saying I need help was also saying I gotta let people in. I've got to learn to trust not them, but the God in them, and the fact that God can use and will and does use people to be our resources. So I find myself in this place where all of a sudden, almost like overnight, my numbers for the people that I was helping more than tripled. And it got to the point I said, ooh, I can't do this by myself. So I need help. So it was like God was waiting for me to say, I need help. And as soon as I said, Lord, I need help, send the resources, it was like something cracked open in the sky, and here they came. And I am surrounded by like-minded people, by people that genuinely love God and want to help. So what do you do with that if you can't trust? What do you do with the resources that God is sending if you don't have the capacity to allow it to be present in your space or in your life? I thought I had let a lot of things go, but then I felt myself pausing or tightening up a little bit. And I said, ooh, uh-oh. Okay, God, if there's anything in me that is not from you, I need you to remove it. I need to let it go. And I need you to replace it with your love. I found myself praying that same prayer. Yes, I did once again. And just like I have been overwhelmed by people doing the wrong thing, by people being manipulative, by people being self-serving, I was now being overwhelmed by the goodness of God. I was being overwhelmed by people that were genuinely coming to me saying, how can we help? That wanted to be a blessing, that wanted to see people in a better place than we found them. And I thought this was like a season, or that this was just going to last for one event, but this has been going on now for going on year 2, and it's just getting larger and larger and larger. And I keep finding myself saying, I want to do more, Lord. I want to do more. But when you're saying, I want to do more, you also have to know that's going to require something from you. That's going to require you to let go of the past. That's going to require you to let go of the hurt. That's going to require you to allow God to heal those hurt ears. That's going to require you to be able to allow people into your space and not be suspicious of them. Yes, trust God. Yes, trust the God in them. Trust that God is answering your prayer. He's sending you help, but also recognize that is Him. God wants the best for us. He wants us to be at high capacity so He can flow out of us. He wants us to have a place in us where even if something goes wrong, we're going to trust Him with the something that went wrong. We're not going to allow it to lock us down. We're not going to allow it to bind us up. We're not going to allow it to tie us down. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to shake it off. We're going to shed it, because the Bible, again, it tells you to forgive quickly. You have to be in motion to not let things take root on you. And you just have to shake some stuff off. It's not even worth your time. I said it last week and I'm going to say it again this week. Don't give anybody that much power in your life that they are dictating your dreams, they are dictating your subconscious, that they are always on your mind. Nobody should be on your mind like that but Jesus. And it's just the enemy will just like keep rerunning the hurt. He'll just keep rerunning the scenarios. And you have to shut him up. You have to tell him, get behind me, Satan. And it's just allowing the healing process to come, allowing God to keep you in a place of forgiveness. Listen, that's a continuous thing, because there is so much happening right now in the world that if you turn to the left or to the right too quickly, you might just get pulled away. You will be walking around mad at the president, mad at your congressman, mad at your neighbor, mad at the man at the grocery store. Now you just mad. So really, what do you think? How impactful, how effective do you really think you can be if you are swayed by what's going on around you, instead of keeping your eyes laser focused on the things that God has called you to do? Listen, this might sound like a big ask to be asking you to let go or to forgive someone that has offended you, someone that has hurt you. And I'm going to say this again. Just because you forgive them does not mean that you have to grant them access to hurt you again. The thing about us is that I might be somewhere ahead of you in the process, where I can deal with you coming up behind me about to shank me, and I can grab your hand and put it down and say that's not a good idea, and be calm about it. But you might roll up on somebody else and they might take it and shank you instead. So you really don't know where someone is in their walk. And just because you're ready to apply forgiveness or to say it's okay does not mean that that person's character or their behaviors have changed. They might still be the same manipulative person that you ran into. This may be their purpose on the earth, Judas, and just to betray. But forgiveness is available for them too. The ability to change is available to them too. But just because you arrived at that moment right now does not mean that they did. So you have to seek God for wisdom as to, okay, now I done forgave him. I done forgave her. Do I let them back in? And that's going to be a separate conversation, because they are not linked together. They are not mutual friends. Just because, again, you're ready to move on or to forgive does not mean that that person is in the same place or that they're ready to change or if they even care to change. So this has to be an individual decision. You can't seek forgiveness for your whole family. Each one of us got to figure this out ourselves. Amen. So, hurt ears. Every time you have an experience that hurts you, you you put that somewhere. I don't know where you put yours, but you put it somewhere. And the next time somebody comes along and that sounds similar or it feels the same, if you have hurt ears, your response is going to be monumental. You are going to unleash the fury of your unforgiveness on this person, whether they deserve it or not. That is the danger of walking around loaded with unforgiveness and walking around with hurt ears. Because if you do not allow, I'm going to just keep saying this, if you do not allow God to move on your behalf and uproot these things, listen, it will impact you in ways that you just do not believe. You have to first recognize that you have hurt ears, that you might actually be processing your life through hurt ears, that you might be processing situations through hurt ears. I talked about if someone has hurt you in the area of love. Let's talk about ministry. As someone, a leader, has betrayed you or hurt you or misused you or overused you, and you don't allow God to heal that area, you would think that all leaders don't have your best interests at heart. I have had some amazing pastors that really did, they had servant hearts and they did not come into my life to tear me down or to abuse me or to use me. But because I had hurt ears, I'm going to just be real transparent in this moment. Everybody was suspect. And I will go to somewhere to speak and I would be looking at the leadership sideways to see what they were about. And if they said a catchphrase that sounded familiar to me, like how many people you running, Doc, or something like that. Okay, so now I've put you in a category that you really didn't even know that you were just living in my mind. And I had to start allowing God to show me that some of this stuff is really learned behavior that people say, but it doesn't mean that they all are the same. It does not mean that every time I hear somebody say these words, how many you running, Doc, or how many services you got, or just different things that just were triggering me. I had to really let God heal that because in my mind, you all were just kind of sketchy and were about money. Let me just make that plain. When I would hear those catchphrases, that triggered to me because I had hurt ears that you were all about the Benjamins, that you were all about getting that money and that, and can I just be honest, some of you, that is what you are about, but that did not mean everybody that said those words were living like that or were trying to exploit the people and not help the people. God had to heal that in me, that there were certain types of ministries that I would just be like, really? Turn to your neighbor, do this, do that. I was looking at y'all suspect. I'm just being transparent in this moment. So I had to allow God to let me look at you as an individual. Recently, God reminded me of something He told me when I started out in ministry. God said He was going to show me the spirit behind the person's actions so I would not get mad at the person. Listen, we only have one enemy, and that is Satan. I'm going to say it one more time. You have one enemy, and that is Satan. He may use people and just cause all kinds of drama from the hands of people. But he is who is behind it. He is the one to take the vengeance out on, not the individual. Everybody on this earth stands the possibility of being used in a moment. Don't judge people on their moment. Anybody can have a bad moment. You can have a bad moment. I can have a bad moment. But please do not define me by my moment. But if you have hurt ears, that's exactly what you will do. If I make a mistake and you've seen leaders make mistakes over the years and you've judged them or you haven't forgiven them for it or both, every leader that comes along and makes a mistake, you're going to just assume their character is horrible, they don't know Jesus, and that they just the worst person on the earth. Trust me, leaders are held at a higher standard, yes, and God will get us. Please don't ever forget that. He said, woe to the pastor that misleads the sheep. Listen, we have a greater degree of accountability than I think people are remembering. I don't know. But if you have hurt ears, it all sounds the same. There are so many people staying at home right now because they have hurt ears. They have unforgiveness. They have things that they have not allowed God to heal in them. And trying to get through to them is going to be an actual act of God that they are able to discern that you are not that person. Hurt ears. So important. So important to allow God to heal these things, this old garbage, y'all, that we walking around with, that has us listening in the wrong perspective, that have us sitting here looking at people crazy and they're innocent. But because we have hurt ears, we have unforgiveness rolling around in our hearts and in our spirits, we can't even hear the truth that they're trying to come with. Use the example of people coming to me to help me, to bring resources to me, but I was so wounded and I had such hurt ears that I couldn't even hear the truth that they were saying. It was deception, and that's what the enemy does. He operates in deception. So he'll have you misjudging people so you can't get the help that you need. The devil is a liar. Please allow God to start moving in your life in the areas of unforgiveness. Ask him. Ask God to show you the areas that you need to be healed in. Ask God to show you what needs to be removed and ask him to remove it and replace it with his love. Ask God to show you the areas that are still wounded in you so that you can live in the blessings of God and not walk around being skeptical of people that are legitimately trying to help you grow and that are trying to help you improve. Listen, if God sends help, can you recognize it? If you're walking around with hurt ears, if you're walking around with unforgiveness, you will not be able to recognize the truth of God. Let go and let God. Yes, let go and let God bring the healing to you today. Just allow God to pour into you, to strip away the things that have no place in you, to bring healing, to bring love, to bring peace, to bring joy. And can I tell you, you hear this said all the time, forgiveness is for you. It really is, because it brings about a peace to you. It brings about a stability to you. It brings about a place where you can walk and not be all tied up or tied down, where you can move freely with no shame, with no animosity, with no anger. Anger, man, you'll have so much stuff packed down in you that it just feels like you're mad all the time. Let go. Ask God to take that out of you, to help you get healed, to help you move forward, to help you live in the freedom and the liberty that is your blood bought right through Jesus's death, burial, and resurrection. Listen, I want you to understand that God has better for you. He has more for you. But yes, there are steps that are required, and one of them is allowing God to deal with the unforgiveness that is in you, to allow God to heal those hurt ears, to allow God to move in your life in a capacity as never before. Listen, God is not about confusion. He's not about just having you limited in the things. He wants to bless you. He wants to give you things in abundance. But there are requirements from you. And one of them is letting go of the hurt, letting go of the unforgiveness, letting go of the pain, because you will not even enjoy the blessings of the Lord fully until you do. I just want you to be the best version of you that God has in store for you. But listen, I'm going to close with this. Allow God to heal your hurt ears. Love you. This is Life According to Dana. Be blessed. See you here next week. Always remember, God is with you no matter where you are. For those that may not be in the dark place, that you may be that spark, you may be that light, and what you have to say has value, that you may be the one that God is going to use to bring someone out of that dark place. You never know what people are really going through. You really never know what's their circumstance. Why are they feeling the way they're feeling? Why is their spirit so down? They may be waiting on you to be the one to speak the word of encouragement. You know, sometimes we get so caught up in our own stuff that we forget other people are going through similar situations.